G'day everyone, welcome back. This week, we're working on the boat. Not the big boat though, little boat. So, I am still waiting on some parts to finish the head on the big boat. Now, hopefully they'll be here this week and then I can get stuck into that and bring you an update video on that. But for the moment, I want to do a bit of work to the little old tender, which is not very little. Bit of a backstory, no real idea what it is. It come with the deal when I swapped the motorbike for the boat. Come with the tender, 12 foot. Although I'll actually put a tape measure on that because I'm not sure if it's 12 or 11. But anyway, she's a little worse for wear. Multiple coats of house paint over the years. Haven't stuck, as house paint normally doesn't. Even though that's probably what I'm going to put back on. There's bits and pieces. I mean, it's had multiple boggings. I don't know why that's cut out and bent. Yeah, bits of bog and stuff. But the biggest reason that it's here is that I have a good, like a proper size crack. So I'm sure you'll be able to see it on the video, but anyway, it's all the way through there. I did try and 2-part epoxy, 2-part, you know, whatever. It just doesn't hold, and I'm just sick of it looking really ratty. So what I'm going to do, oh, and also another reason is, a couple of times now we've actually taken it out fishing. You know, family fits in it, it's big enough, and it just needs a bit of love. I'd almost like to just chuck it in the bin and get something else, but that's not really how I roll. I've got it, I'm just going to fix it. So we're going to start by giving it a really good pressure wash, and I'm going to get as much of this paint off as possible, which will be a lot because it doesn't stick very well. And then I'm going to weld up the cracks. I've got a few other little mods I want to do to it while it's here. I want to make a little compartment in the front for the anchor and anchor rope. And I have brought a little bimini for it. So they were on sale at BCF, and just to make it a bit nicer for the family, or you know, if we just happen to take the big boat out somewhere and you know we need to use this thing to go a bit further distance, it's just nice to not get burnt. I mean, we're in Australia and we got some pretty savage sun, so anyway, that's the goal. See how much of it we get done, but that's the goal. I would ask though, if you haven't already, and you know you think you might be interested in this or the updates on the bigger boat, I'd very much appreciate if you go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't cost you a cent, helps me out heaps, and you know makes it easier for me to keep doing videos like this and other ones on the RX-7 and just other general muck around stuff in the shed. So alright, that's enough of my voice. Let's get to pressure washing. Well, I'm covered in paint flakes, and I'll bet you didn't know, actually you probably did but I didn't, ship fitters disease extends to aluminium poorly looked after tinnies. So can of worms have been opened. It's pressure washed, and then I come through and just gave it a bit of a what for with the wire wheel and the grinder, and it takes it back pretty good. But I'm finding bog everywhere, so there's another crack that's got to be done. Every single one of these wells looks like it has a crack either on it or certainly forming around it. That one does too. I mean, I wanted to get rid of that anyway and put a proper drain bung in it. So, the question is, how far does one go? Probably further than I have, because at the moment that side's not terrible. I was going to do the whole really good film thing and go this side's done and this side's not, but that's just not what I do. I think I'm going to go and get some paint stripper, because what's left on there now is actually it's pretty hard, and there's another one there. That's a previous repair I did that I went through and I didn't realise, so that's got to be fixed. So anyway, sorry, I think I'm going to go and get some paint stripper and actually get every single bit of paint off this. Looks like there's certainly some not fun bits coming there, and there was another one on the side. Where'd it go? Well, we've come away there. That's had a big come away from the gunnel. And then there was a big, can't see it now, I'm gonna have to go and get a texture and paint these things when I find it. Come on, that's not a crack. Oh, I don't know where it's gone, but there was another crack above the waterline, but it was a substantial one, looked like where a seat was. Anyway, paint stripper, do it properly. Alright, just like big boats, little boats hide problems too. I was wondering what this cutout for. I think it's because they tried to get in to fix this. So that's just a straight through hole there. The weld's pulled away, there's another one there. Like I said, they're all cracked. So I think the best course of action, I mean, I was going to just fully weld the keel and try and seal the keel, but I think realistically, cut the tacks, get it off, I can re-weld the center seam, and then I'll tack the keel back on. There we go. So as you saw, I ended up hitting it with some paint stripper because it was taking a long time, and I thought the paint stripper would speed the process up. I don't really think it did. I mean, it's got it to a point where it's pretty good, but I mean, I used a lot of it and it took a long time. So anyway, that's that side. This side, and I ran out of paint stripper, and I mean, it's the bottom anyway. So I think for the bigger bits, you know, the big heavy chunks and that, I'll just come through with a wire wheel on the grinder and just nib them up. But for now, well, you know, that's for later. I think I'm going to start attacking some of these bigger, try and fix all the sections where it's cracked through. So there. For this one, I think I may actually cut a patch, or actually cut it out and weld a patch in. Clean up all these sections. There was a little crack I found. Where were we? Into there somewhere. Put a bit of weld there. And then the funny thing is, this entire project was instigated by that. And now where we are. Anyway, yeah. I'll set the MIG up for aluminium. I'll come around. I think we're just going to MIG it all up. And then we can tidy up the keel and put it on. Alright, that did not go well at all. I'm not really that good at aluminium MIGging. I'm far better at TIGging aluminium than I am MIGging aluminium. I thought I'd give it a run because it's quicker, and sometimes a little bit better at blowing through some, if the aluminium's not quite pristine clean, it's sometimes a bit better for blowing through. But that is just atrocious, like in every way. It's too thin for the MIG, really. So what it's doing is just blowing holes, and then I'm coming back and trying to fill holes, and then you get inclusions in the weld, and it just compounds from there. So this one up here, I tried to, but there was just too much stuff in the weld, and it just didn't do it. So I think I'm back to TIGging, which is going to take a while. TIGging is a much slower process, much more finesse and control, and you know, like I said, I'm much better at it than I am with the MIG. It just takes longer. So, but that's the only option we got. So yeah, I'm going to grind these up, try and pretty them up a little bit. I did weld some of the seats inside, try and put a bit more weld on them and make them a bit stronger, and I was just blowing out the side like this. Some of this aluminium, where it's corroded over the years, is like Bible paper. It's ridiculously thin. So alright, to make myself feel a little bit better though, I think what I'm going to do is mount some wheels on the back, because I've got some for transport, and then I'm going to cut a hole for a proper drain bung instead of that rubber plug there. Don't like the idea of the rubber plugs. Alright, wheels are on. We're all set for a really good time. Sorry about that. Next step is I've got an actual drain bung. It's pretty oversized, but I had it left over from another project, so we're going to put it on. I'm going to get rid of this, the little rubber stopper style one. Never really liked it. So, hole saw, drill a big hole in the boat. There we have it. It goes in there, and lots of elastic when it comes time. Nice. Alright. Something else that we're going to have to do, which I definitely have to do before we paint it, because I can pretty much guarantee that I'm going to have to weld on some tabs to bolt this to. Anyway, brand spanking new Bimini. These are on sale at BCF. It was 150 bucks. So I was going to buy a second-hand one, but for that price, might as well buy a new one. So let's open it up and have a bit of a look at what we got. I've never fitted one of these before, so should be interesting. Like I said, I was sort of trying to do this boat up as a little bit more than just a tender. You know, something that it's big enough to legally put the whole family in. So, you know, we can go fishing, things like that, or when you know, we take the big boat somewhere, we can drag this with us, and that way if we want to get to the shore properly or you know, cruise around, we can, depending on where we go. Strap some things. Yeah, so they're the blocks. So they're the pivot blocks, and they're wider than what the sides of the boat are. So I'm going to have to make up some aluminium tabs, weld them on the boat where they need to be, and then we can bolt to that. And look at that, high quality screwdriver. It's actually not bad. I've seen some pretty ordinary ones, better than what IKEA gives you, I'm sure. Straps and things. Alright, well, first step, I'm going to make up four brackets to weld to the boat so that I can put them on. I'm going to put it all together, make some tabs for the brackets to weld to on the inside, because it won't bolt straight to the top, and well, that's about it. I thought I'll put some brackets on the inside so the outside stays clean, but also I need the brackets to sit under this surface here, because if they stick up higher, when I go to load it onto the trailer or drag it down the beach or anything like that, they'll get wiped out. So I made the brackets so they're recessing here a little bit. I'm going to try and put it all together first, and then set it all up so I can put it in the right spot, and then we'll weld some brackets. Alright, there we go. I like it. Come together good, fits the boat well. I mean, I brought it to fit the boat, but yeah, I think it fits it pretty good. Probably the least important job that had to be done right now, but it's done. So, yeah, anyway, it's alright. I do tend to get sidetracked a little bit. Yeah, it's on, nice and tight. Everything went well. So like I was saying, when we pull it off, these brackets have to sit below here because this can go up on the top of the trailer or anything like that, or actually on the top of the caravan will be the case this weekend. Pull them out, this can come off completely, and then the brackets aren't in the way of anything. Because it is still, its primary function is still the tender for the big boat. But that's going to help a lot. So it covers the rear seat really good. So if it's raining, you shouldn't get too wet. Well and truly covers the middle seat, and it doesn't cover the front, but I mean, when you're out on the water, you're spinning around the sun, and realistically, it's better than nothing, but it won't cover you all the time. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Take it off, and I'm actually going to start doing some welding because the whole primary reason was to fix the cracks in the boat, and I haven't. So far, all I've done is managed to make more holes in the boat. So, a little disappointed in myself for that, but that's how it goes. I'm pretty good at turning a small job and making it way harder than it had to be. So, as you probably found out if you watched the channel for any sort of length of time. All right. Coming off, and I'm going to clean up all my welds around the seats. Yeah, clean all them up, and then flip the boat upside down and start welding the underside and get it to the point where I can get the keel back on, because that's a big one. There we have it. Welded a lot. It was just cracks. Ooh, that one's still hot. All these, some of these ones are where I went through with the angle grinder, just not paying attention when I cut the keel off. But that wasn't. Up there was a crack. Some of these were with the grinder, but then because they were where the welds were, they cracked the aluminium around them. So this one definitely was, so there was a weld there, but it cracked all the way down and around, and obviously had to weld that up. That was the original offender, so he's welded up. Some of these just don't look very good because, sort of trying to push through a whole heap of porosity and just crap in the metal, so it is what it is. I can't, not a good saying, I know, but I keep using it. It doesn't leak, so we've tested it, we filled it up, or flipped it back over and filled it up with water, and it doesn't leak now. So third time's a charm. We did have to do it a few times before I got them all. So keel goes back on now, and then I can just go over it all with a hand sander, and then I can paint it. Righto, As you saw, all the prep work's done. Well, not all the prep work yet. We're still got to wipe it down with some acetone, but got rid of all the sort of last of the big bits on the side, big bits of paint. The bottom, I'm not worried too much about. I mean, it's still the bottom. I went through and sanded it, and it's all the sort of loose bits are gone. But yeah, I think the sides will come up really good. So I just need to go through now and give it a really good wipe down with acetone. Wax and grease remover would work very well as well, but I've got acetone, so I'm going to do it. And then etch prime, let that go off, and then wipe. So yeah, this is the payoff. Yeah, it's been a day and a half worth of stripping and cleaning and everything, and now I get to paint it, and then next weekend I can actually use it. So yeah, good. That'll give it a good amount of time for all the paint to cure and go hard properly too. So I'm using enamel, which enamel generally sort of dries fairly quickly. It is technically a quick dry enamel that I brought too, so I'll probably, I think it's about, I don't know, 10 o'clock or something now. It's a pretty warm day, so spray it. I could realistically probably flip this upside down and start putting it back together maybe late this afternoon. Depends on what time I give up and go home. So, all right, wipe it down and spray the etch prime. One colour again. That went pretty good. I used a full litre of etch prime. I didn't thin it. It says not recommended for thinning, so I didn't. And a full litre did the entire underside. So, I mean, I didn't get any runs, so that's a bonus. And it's, it's covered. I could probably do with another full coat, but it's not going to happen. It is all covered. It's got pretty decent. The bottom's got good heavy coat on it. The sides are fully covered, and I sprayed from sort of multiple angles to try and get all the sections of the ribs, and the bow's actually got 2 coats on it, just because I figure it's going to get hit the hardest with waves and things. So yeah, it's a little bit thin in spots, but it's a boat. Horses for courses. Transom come up all right. So yeah, it got a good hit on it. Actually, I think there's probably 2 coats on the transom. Yeah, so we're gonna let that flash off, and I actually don't know how long to let it dry for because the tin doesn't tell me. There's a whole, it's all said on it about safety and first aid and precautions and all that, which yeah, sure, you need to know it, but put the dry times of the product on there. Actually put the functions of the product. So it says what you can paint over and all that stuff, but it doesn't actually tell me the dry time. So we're going to let it, well, it's tacked off, so might give it a little bit longer, and then I'm going to mix up and we'll spray it white. Alright, it's white. Didn't come up too bad. So it's actually 2 coats on the bottom. That's just sort of what I had left on the gun. There's 2 coats on the bottom, and I got 1 coat on each side. So I'm going to let that sort of flash off, and then I'll come back and put another coat. Probably 1 more full coat around everything, and then that'll be it. I'm not a professional painter at all. Not really a professional anything, if I'm being honest. Just sort of dabble in a lot of things. So, but I think it come up pretty good. Oh, it'll be even more shiny with another coat. But yeah, there's not a straight bit of aluminium on it. But anyway, it's all right. we'll put another coat on it, make it shiny, and call it good. So yeah, all good. I'm pretty happy with it. It's actually quite glossy, which is nice. So the next step is I'm going to put the wheels on the back and make sure I put that on with some silicone, and then I'm going to flip it up the right way, and I'll put the new bung in the back, and we can put all our brackets on for the bimini and get the whole thing sort of finished off. Well, there you have it. A relatively ordinary way to spend a weekend, but a bit of elbow grease and about 80 bucks in undercoat and top coat paint, so you know, not too bad really. 150 for the bimini, that was brand spanking new, so you know, even when this thing eventually dies, that'll come off and go on whatever we have next. But yeah, it's obviously not a show pony, and realistically would I do it again? No. I'd just weld that crack up and put it back on the water and keep going. But anyway, it was an exercise, and now it doesn't leak. So it looks good, it looks better, but more importantly, it doesn't leak. So the young bloke wants to go do a bit more fishing, and this is a little bit easier to just sort of get out and cruise around than what the big boat is. So yeah, it'll be good for that. I've got a couple of rod holders that I'll just sort of put in there, and I am in the market for a new outboard. So the little 4 horsepower 2-stroke that I've got, it's, yeah, it goes and it's okay, but it's starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. So yeah, I think I'm in the market for a 5 horsepower 4-stroke if I can get one. That'd be nice. So, and I think that'll about do it. So it's, yeah, it is what it is. It's a good runabout, and it's a good tender. It's actually a very big tender. If I was looking for just a tender for the boat, this wouldn't be it, but it's multi-purpose now. So all right, well, I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, a little bit of fun, something to do, and while I've been doing this, my parts have now turned up for the big boat. So I now have my toilet and my shower sump, and I'm just waiting on the sink to turn up. So there will be some more episodes coming on the big boat very soon. We're going to get the head finished off and get it back into a fully usable condition, as well as I do have a trip planned in it. So yeah, keep a lookout for that. That'll be in the next few weeks. We're going to get everyone together that gave me a hand while it was up on the slip, and we're going to go for a little bit of a cruise, a bit of a party run. So I'll film as much as appropriate for that, and we'll put it up. But all right, well, thank you very much. If you haven't already, go ahead and please subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one. So stay safe. See you then.